To our next table discussion, we're talking about the new patriotic party. We're talking about preserving the NPP as a credible opposition. Now, this topic comes up on the back of some, shall I say, internal wrangling, or what you guys have termed some internal fracas in the run-up to the flag bearership race of the new patriotic party. Now, they intend to head to their polls January 2026 in a move that many describe as premature as far as the party and its reorganization is concerned. For many people, the new patriotic party is still reeling after its defeat or after the December 7th, 2024 elections. But how does Ghana's biggest opposition party regroup and ensure that they're able to stand tall and perform their duties as an opposition party? We're talking about that in some detail. Do be sure to give us a follow on all of the socials, and you can find us on X, on Facebook, on Instagram, and also on YouTube, where we're streaming live.
The best in the morning is on 92.7 Sunrise on 3FM.
Let's connect now with Dr. Jonathan Asante Ochre. He's a political scientist at UCC. Doc, hello, good morning.
Good morning, Helen. Political analyst, not political scientist.
Political analyst. Thank you so much for that. Hope you're doing well this morning.
Yes, it's been one interview upon the other.
You're a very busy man indeed. Of course, we have the new patriotic party in focus this morning because of a lot of what we've seen and heard over the last few days, a few weeks. We see that there are different camps all vying for flag bearership, and some of the commentary that has been going back and forth hasn't been too exciting to watch, especially when you think about the new patriotic party as the biggest opposition party in the land. What do you make of the current happenings? We've heard Dr. Bawumia responding to comments made by Dr. Brian Champon. We're talking about tribal bigotry and all of that. How does that sit for you, for a party that is looking to reconstruct and to reboot?
Well, Helen, let me say good morning to your good self and to your listeners. In actual fact, if they are not careful, it could still get worse before it gets better. I hope it will get better at an opportune time, that they will be able to recover from the bruises that they would have caused themselves. It is quite unfortunate that they have sunk that low. And of course, it is because of people having certain entrenched positions within the party, i.e. those who want the status quo ante to remain, and those who believe that there should be a change in direction. And so such entrenched positions that have happened would definitely cause things of that nature to happen. And in actual fact, you do not expect your opponent to sing your praises in terms of areas where you have your strength. Definitely, they will want to punch you below the belt where they know you have your weaknesses. And that's exactly what we are seeing. The other part, the structures that have been put in place tend to inure to the benefit of a particular candidate or person. So if that is the case, then you do not expect the others not to come hard at you. Because if they don't allow, a fair orchestration of the whole process, then that unity that they are looking for will elude them. And that is something that I see happening in the not too distant future. Now, the history is there. You see, Dr. Bawumia is part of the problem, he was part of the solution, and is currently part of the problem. And you need to look at the history. Maybe when the history question comes up, I'll know what to say. Because the NPP is a conservative party. So that liberal conservatism is something that they have been championing over the period. So once there is a blip along the line, that is where the problem is coming from. If you don't mind, I can give you that, and then you can ask your other questions.
Certainly. I'll pause you on that score very briefly. I also want to introduce into the conversation Mr. Stephen Osei Achiam. He's a political marketing communications expert at the University of Education, Winneba. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us on the program. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, Helen, thank you so much. I'm doing very well, by God's grace.
Fantastic. We're just seeking to dissect some of the issues that the New Patriotic Party is currently contending with. In the last few days and weeks, we've taken note of some very concerning discourse between the various camps vying for flag bearership. I also want to pick your initial thoughts on what you make of this seeming internal wrangling that we see. Does it bode well for a party that is looking to reboot, to reconstruct, and to forge ahead and try to win an election?
Right. Thank you so much. I want to say a good morning to the good people of Ghana and our listeners, and a good morning to my Vice Chancellor and my Pro-Vice Chancellor of the University of Education, Winneba. Yes, this issue of the internal wrangling, yes, it's expected, at least in every political party, especially when you go into an election and then you lose. It's expected that they need to regroup and find solutions to their problems and wanting to know what actually contributed to their huge defeat with respect to the number of MPs they have in Parliament. Yes, it's expected, but then NPP being at the moment they are the biggest opposition party in the country, and yes, they are very credible, but then they need to be very strategic and find a way of solving these issues as early as possible. As I said, these wranglings will come up, but they need to adapt strategies and then make sure they solve it without actually attacking people and then getting people by their throats, as you rightly stated, which we have experienced within some days now. So they can, but they need to be strategic in solving it.
Now, as regular citizens, one might ask, is this something that the everyday Ghanaian should be concerned about, and why?
With respect to the internal wrangling?
Indeed, with respect to the internal wranglings, with respect to the mission of the NPP in its attempts to reboot or at least recalibrate as a party.
Yes, Ghanaians must be very concerned about it because, you need a very well-organized and a credible opposition to actually get the government in power, put the government in power on their toes to keep on doing what is right for the people. So if the opposition party, instead of concentrating and rather pushing the sitting government or the ruling government to do things right, if themselves are having issues, then it means that they are distracted. And if that happens, then there is a tendency that their attention that is supposed to push the ruling party to do things right wouldn't be there. And of course, it also means that things may not be done the way Ghanaians expect things to be done by the ruling party. So Ghanaians will have to be extremely concerned about it. Yes, and it is worrying. They need to regroup very well.
Certainly. Thank you for those initial thoughts. Doc, I want to come back to you. You were making mention of some history. How does party history influence NPP's current status as opposition?
Well, as liberal conservatives, for example, if you take it from Professor Dubois' time, one, Mr. Kufuor intended to contest him. According to the history, he was told that his time was not due. Now Kufuor comes, and then Mr. Kufuor intends to contest him. Of course, to unseat him, they told him that his time was not due. So it got to Mr. Kufuor's time. Now you want Alan to jump, ahead of Akufo-Addo, and he complained that when he intended to do ABC, and he was told that his time was not due. Now that his time is due, why are you jumping Alan ahead of him? That inured to his benefit, though he did not win outright. Then Mr. Alan decided that, look, you are a senior colleague. I will allow you to continue. Then Mr. Akufo-Addo suggests that when his time is due, you will support him. So when you have done 8 years in opposition, 8 years in government, how then do you, the same person, decide to jump Alan, to jump Bawumia ahead of Alan? So that in itself has created that particular wedge between traditional and conservative NPPists as against the liberals. And Dr. Bawumia currently is a beneficiary of the problem that Mr. Akufo-Addo has created within the party. So you see, one Global Info Analytics brings the data that suggests that Dr. Bawumia is leading by 52%. It should tell you that those who are opposed to him are too many within the party itself. So if the data says that Canada Japan has 17%,
right,
undecided and those who did not disclose, it's about 27%. That is very huge. And usually, when you have such a huge number, if they were on the side of the status quo or the establishment, that is the 52%, they would have declared it. So once they don't declare that they don't belong neither to the 52 or to the others, it should tell you that they are siding, right, with the opposition within the party itself instead of the leading candidate. So the likes of Mr. Akufo-Addo, the likes of Mr. Mahama within the party, they had huge figures to their advantage. If you don't have that, then it means that your control over the party is not significant enough. And that in itself will worry you when it comes to external elections. You may have your way within the party.
Right.
But externally, because within the party you don't have that strong support, it becomes a problem when they are marketing you. And that in itself will show. It showed in the 2024 elections.
Right.
These factions have been present in the party because people believe that still. They believe that Dr. Bawumia, in actual fact, is not a true. That acceptability is still has not, gained root within the party. Other than that, you don't have such a huge opposition. He should be hitting somewhere 70-something%. Then that in itself will be able to use that to galvanize, the grassroots and gain the support of all. But at this point in time, he doesn't. And that is a problem that they must deal with it.
Certainly. Doc, thank you for that. Let me also come back to Mr. Osei-Achiao. And how can the NPP reconcile these conflicting interests within its base?
Yes, so Helen, I was listening to the previous the speaker, and then he made a very good point. The NPP needs to actually look at the root cause of this very issue, and I'm happy he has outlined some of the issues, the jumping of other people and all that. We should know that Alan Chemantin has his followers, he has his constituents who are true and true party people who may not be the ones to make the noise. Yes, of course, for Alan to decide to make the decision he made, that should tell you that majority of his people support what he did. Now, let's also go back a little bit down history. Just recently, the issues, what happened to Kwabena Japan and Paula Foko. People are, maybe the party, they are not actually being very concerned about those issues. Kwabena Japan, as a fine gentleman as he is, and Paula Foko as well, they also have their huge constituents. Let's remember,
that's right.
Kwabena Japan worked closely with President John Ajikungufo. And he was part of the campaign team as of the time. 1996, he was there. 2000, and then he worked under John Kufuor and all that. That should tell you the number of constituents he
he owns, the number of people he controls within the NPP party. So if the party really wants to solve their problems, what is happening between Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia and Brian Champon is just the surface of the whole thing. If you listen to Brian very well, he mentioned he was part of the campaign team for Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. That should tell you that, and before Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia came in, you should know that they were with this Kwabena Japons and their focus and the rest. They were the ones leading the party as of the time. So the NPP needs to really do a critical check and go back to certain people to find a way of getting them to actually come on board. Otherwise, you will just be looking at trying to solve the issues at the surface level, and then at the root itself, you have just cut all the roots. And if you don't have roots, how will you be able to plant a new tree?
So you say that until they get to the foundation of some of these fundamental issues, these problems that we're seeing, this back and forth that we're seeing, the conflict we're seeing is going to persist.
Exactly what I'm saying, because you see that a typical example is just at the outcome of the 2024 election. I'm not sure. Yes, the Info Analytics gave us some information on how it was going to go, how the elections, but you could see the margin. You could see the number of MPs who lost their seats.
That's right.
You understand? That should tell you that it is not just a matter of getting a candidate and then doing all the campaign, all the messages and all that. There are root causes that needs to be addressed. Otherwise, for me, I'm afraid, but this issue will not be solved as early as possible. But if they really want to solve it within the next year or two before the 2028 elections, they need to go back to the roots. As I said, you are looking at a peer like Kwabena Japon, the Paula Focus, who worked with the Kofours and all that. Those people, they have serious constituents. And their constituents are not only within the central region and the Ashanti regions. They have influences at the northern part and all the other northern parts of the country. And that should tell you that until they are able to get all these people back to work together, whatever reason, whatever happened, that these people were more or less, I'm choosing my words right, more or less sidelined, or whatever it is, they need to find a way to bring them together. The regrouping must be done from the roots. Otherwise, I do not see how they can solve these things to get the kind of victory they are looking for in 2028. It is possible they can get the victory, but they need to do a lot underground. The roots must be fixed. They need to stitch all the issues that they had within the roots to enable them get together and then get the people right. Because Kwabena Japon, they are focused, and just recently, you see the Adoyers and the rest.
Right.
If you follow the communication, recently I was watching Miracle's comments talking about there is no way back into the party and all that. If you really want to get numbers to win the election, if you really want to regroup, and Hobson Adoya is not just an individual. He was also part of the people who worked with President John Akufo-Addo, Kufuor and the rest. So if you are looking at pillars who have just been put aside, and if you don't bring these pillars back, you can't build. For me, as a strategic communicator and someone who is into politics, you need to bring these people together. Then they will say that, there is this, we have watched Captain Planet, they say, let's put our powers together.
That's right.
When we bring our powers together, then you have somebody, you have a captain to lead. Until you bring all these pillars together, I'm sorry, it will be very difficult to regroup and just take power from the NDC. It is not just easy like that.
Certainly. Mr. Osanchia, we're grateful for your time. You bring back some good memories. They say, by our powers combined, I am Captain Planet. Thank you so much for that.
Bring all their powers together to
Indeed. Indeed. We're grateful for your thoughts and perspectives this morning. Thank you for joining us on the show. Let me wrap up with Doc. Doc, your final thoughts on this. Do you also agree that until some of these foundational pillars, these personalities are brought back into the fold, some of these issues that the NPP is facing or contending with will not go away?
Yes, Helen. The point is that granting amnesty in itself was good. It was a good gesture.
Right.
But it was an insincere one because you added caveat. You're telling me that if you want Alan to come back, he should come and fill forms because he's going to contest. Who doesn't know the status and the locus of Mr. Afoko? So you want Afoko to come back. You make it sound as if, the likes of Dr. Nyaho Tamoko, who has been founding member, and the way I manner some of the youthful leaders of the party have been speaking about some of these elders. I mean, they are just terrible. So you don't make it sound as if these people depend upon the party to feed. They don't need anything from the party. It is just that is where their hearts are. And that's why they all want to congregate to build the party. So I believe that it may even get a little more murkier than it gets better. Probably to get better later, we cannot tell. But as it stands now, because people have vested interest and they want to project these vested interests, it is still going to be very difficult for them to have that semblance of unity that we are looking forward to. And so if the status quo, if the establishment, if the structure, the architecture of the party inures to a particular candidate's favor, that will not create that kind of unity that they are looking for. But I have to wish them well. At the moment, they are at the crossroads, and if they are not even careful, they may lose Akritia.
Doc, we're grateful for your time this morning. Thank you so much for sharing your expert perspectives with us this morning. Dr. Jonathan Asante Otri is a political analyst. He's also with the University of Cape Coast. Time check, it is some 5 minutes to the top of the hour. Let's go for our final break. When we come back, we wrap up on yet another exciting installment of 3FM Sunrise.